Good morning, everybody. How is everybody on this fine Saturday, December 3rd, 2022? What a day this has been already. It's only 7:49 in the morning. I set my alarm for 5 a.m. I had actually planned on going to Cathedral Rock in Sedona and being over there so I could get a parking spot first thing, and then hiking to the top and watching the sun rise. I mean, it was going to be some work, right? From the time you could actually start seeing to walk to the time where the sunrise to the top, you'd be hoofing it. And I looked at the weather report, and said it was going to be 50 degrees in the morning, and then it was going to be 67 during the day. Perfect day, right? So I go start my trek up, let my dog out, and it looks like I'm going to be there around 6:30 in the morning, which is perfect. I get in my pickup, and it's 30 degrees. I noticed looked like frost on the back of my rail beds, and I was like, what? 30 degrees? I planned on leaving my little, my Howie dog. Yes. There he is. He's cuddling up in the blanket. I was going to leave him in the truck with a blanket. 50 degrees, 67. He'll be fine. But not at 30 degrees. Red flag. So then I start driving, and my check engine light comes on. Ding, 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 ding. Red flag too. By the second red flag, I was like, It's cloudy. It's cold. And my check engine light just came on. That's 3. Because I wanted to go enjoy the sunrise. So I made a choice at that moment to either keep going forward with my plans or stop, find the nearest turnoff, find a spot where I could regroup, and then make a decision on what I want to do, because I was having reservations. So I drove and I found the first exit, and I thought, well, instead of just turning around and going back, I'm going to regroup. So I know this is the way I go to Sedona, but it's like a back road. So I found the first off-road off that road, and I just sat here and I got my sunrise for what part of it there was. As I was waiting for the sun to come up, I noticed that the crisscrosses from the plains, I've even seen them go crisscross on top of each other. It's almost like the chemtrail planes are flipping you off because you're so stupid that you don't even pay attention. What planes would do that? Unless they're fighter jets having fun or something, but they're not. Planes have a distance respect type of thing that you have to adhere to by when you're flying. And it's almost like they do this kind of thing to almost taunt you with the energy that I've noticed that they send. And then, of course, the sunrise, the first little bit of it, there was that thick haze, so you couldn't see anything. And then there was a little window of time where the sun rays actually got through, and I got that energetic download. It was about 30 seconds, which is all I needed. And then it was into that thick clouds. And now it's just a big wall of clouds. It's not even clouds, it's like a dark haze that they just put over the top of everything. So much so that, like, the areas in the town have a thick haze in the town. At the base of, if you just look around, all of the mountains around here, it looks like LA. It's got that thick haze that covers it. Now that's not normal. When I first got here the first part of November, it was clear and beautiful and everything was, and now all those chemicals and then that thick haze tells me that there is a ton of chemicals out there for people to be breathing today. Now my thinking goes, why would they put so much energy into today? What's so special about today that they don't want us to have our energetic downloads? Because if you can have it when the sun first comes up, by looking directly into the sun, as the sun directly just starts to come up, where you just start seeing the glimpse of the sun, stare at the sun at that moment, because you have fully dilated pupils. The more your pupils dilate, the more you restrict. So you want to get it just a sliver when it first comes up, and give 30 to 45 seconds, and then you're good. And that gives you multiple things for your hormones in your brain and your body physically, but also it gives you an energetic download through your optical into your brain, and then it gives you the things that you can do during the day that bring you to a higher vibration. In other words, walking with your higher self. In other words, letting your higher self run the show. Which, if you do that, you have the time of your life, if you let your higher self run the show, which is what I did today. So when I got up here, I channeled spirit. I was like, okay, I'm not feeling too whole good about this going to Cathedral Rock this morning. Just there's too many, it's going to be too cold for not only me, him. You wouldn't be able to see the sunrise. It's a lot of work to get there by the time, the sunrise happens. And to sit out there and try to meditate when it's 33 degrees out, doesn't sound like a lot of fun to me. And ascension is supposed to be fun. So I'm sitting up here waiting for the sun to come up, talking to spirit. And at that moment, now Dolores Cannon talks about every time we change a timeline, we split as an energy. In other words, me is living out that life, going to Cathedral Rock and having that experience, because I've done that before. This is why we get deja vu. So we've done that life before. But at that moment, when I decided to make that decision of taking the first exit and regrouping and thinking, okay, why? Why are all these signs and synchronicities saying caution, caution, caution? That's what I'm taking it as. So what happened is I split at that moment. My energy split, which means my energy split. I changed timelines, but I also am living that life right now, doing that thing, all of it, experiencing the whole thing. But when I got off and turned off the exit and came up here, I actually changed my timeline. So that's called free will. At any time, you have free will to change anything you want by just making a decision to do something different. Instead of doing what I planned on doing and having a long, cold, hard, rough, karmically full of things I really didn't want to experience day, or coming up here and actually getting my energetic downloads from the sun, from that minute little area that I slit that I had in the clouds to see, to understanding now why they are spraying so heavy. I broke down, I started with the energy of the day. And when I broke down the energy of the day, the month and the year, it all came together as 333. It's like a subliminal energetic portal. It does not make sense. Cancel, clear, delete. It does not make sense. We're changing all of our don'ts into do nots. Because when you don't, it takes the power and the energy away from that word, because you take two words and make them into one. So two words is more powerful than one word. And when you abbreviate, you always create a separation between the two. So energetically, when you abbreviate words, you're taking the power of two words, taking all the power away, and then separating it in the end. So you never come together. It keeps you separated. The more you abbreviate words, the more you separate yourself and your power and your energy and all that displacement. So I'm taking all of the abbreviations out, and our programming wants to do it. Therefore, if you say something with an abbreviation, you can at that moment say cancel, clear, delete. Throw away that timeline, grab a new timeline, where at this moment I say do not. Because don't and do not is more powerful. And when you're talking ascension, where every ounce of energy that you can get to bring you to the highest vibration possible, you're going to do everything you possibly can to be able to have that high vibration. Whether it means if you create a lot of mucus or phlegm, or you're getting over a cold and you don't have anything to blow your nose, and then you go to spit it out because you don't want to swallow it. Some people swallow it. They're like, oh, I don't want to spit. So they swallow it. Let me tell you, that energy that is trying, okay, you are like this transmuting crystal, and you are transmuting darkness all the time. And to get rid of this darkness, you have to cry, phlegm, coughing, burping, belching, farting, defecating, peeing, sweating. Anything the body expels out has toxic, energetic energy in it. This is a proven fact. Ask any healer, Reiki master, Reiki person, anybody, any healer, any spiritual person that truly understands energy, understands that when the body excretes, we're excreting that negative energy. So when you suppress your crying, you snot and then swallow it because you don't want to spit, hold your farts in, whatever, it becomes toxic for your body. Because you're trying to get rid of, the body's trying to get rid of that toxicity. So now, if you aKa loogie on the ground, if you're exuding that toxic energy through that spit onto the ground. Negative energy is coming out of you. By the law of attraction, whatever you give out of you, you shall receive by the universe. Exactly what you give. If you're giving toxic energy, guess what you're going to be getting back in your life? Toxic energy. All you have to do is say, bless. You don't even have to say bless before it hits the ground. Just say bless. It changes the vibrational frequency of that, blesses it, gives the earth blessed energy. You change everything. If it comes out of you and you wipe it on something, that's your energetic DNA on that tissue or whatever you're using, whether it be your wiping, anything, blowing your nose, crying, all that kind of stuff. It's got energetic DNA in it and the emotional energy in it too. Always cough, blow your nose, belch, bless, bless. If somebody else sneezes, bless. Spits on the ground, you can even bless it. If you see somebody, and they don't know any better, bless it for them. You don't have to say it out loud. And you can be like, bless, and you're like, bless. Like, well, that's negative energy. Teach them. It's a great teaching tool to teach people about energy. Because truly, if you want to get in a high vibration, energy is everything. You have to think in terms of energy on everything. And I mean the slightest, tiniest tiny little thing, because everything is a synchronicity. Truly, if you slow down and you get in the flow with your higher self will take you on the funnest, easiest, most exciting, healthiest experiences that you could ever experience. Who wouldn't want to have those experiences, right? Yeah. I mean, I do. I love having those kind of experiences because it's like everything always works out better than I could have ever imagined. So instead of having one timeline where I was going to go hike to the top of Cathedral Rock at 30 degrees, 33 degrees out, then not even catch a sunrise because of it would have been an experience that a lot of work, but not a lot of return. Instead, I turned off, came here, hooked up with my higher self and spirit, watched a beautiful red sky sunrise, thanks to the chemtrail planes, and then did get my 30-second download in between the clouds as it first came up. I wouldn't have had that. I've been working on hiking up to the top. And when you make that decision and you switch timelines, then you're in a whole new energy. Now, you can switch to a lower timeline, or you can switch to a higher timeline than the one you're on, depending on your thought process and how you feel. If you keep feeling negativity and pain and victim mentality and bitterness and frustration and envy and jealousy and all those things is what the Bible calls the devil. All it is a negative programming from the secret society in every way possible, shape, or form that you can even possibly imagine. From every screen, like this screen on the phone, computer screens, movie screens, the mirrors that have interactions, anything like that. In the background, you're getting subliminally mind effed. Back of billboards. And when it comes to subliminal programming, let me give you, for instance, they did a study. They had, I think, 6 or 7 people in a city. They told them to walk. I think it was like 1 or 2 or 3 city blocks. And they were in a group all together. And of course, everybody talked to whoever. And they said, okay, I want you to kind of pay attention to everything. And then when you get done, I want you to tell me what you remember. And most of them were talking the whole way. And they said, well, there was a store here. I'm trying to remember the name, but it had a really pretty dress. And I remember somebody was on a bicycle, that kind of thing. Then they hypnotized all of them. And every single one of them could tell the absolute perfect number of every license plate of every car that drove by. Not only that, every person, what they looked like, what they were wearing, every store in detail, every detail in a 360 to even the people around them, to the minute details. Your subconscious is picking up everything all the time. If it's in your reality, your subconscious is picking it up. Your subconscious is like it's like an antenna, and it's a receptor that just picks up every it's like a computer taking a snapshot. A computer has no judgment, so it takes everything in consideration. So it's everything all at once, and it's like a snapshot of everything. And that is being stored in your, I have to stretch my arm. That is all being stored in your mind. And that has influence on everything about you. This is why the Buddhist monks go to the farthest in Tibet and stay away from everything and everyone, to be able to just be in their own energy to experience God as it should be. But this day and age and society, I mean, we consume on a level that is beyond imaginable. Everybody's got to have the newest fads, the newest phones. It's the media, it's the entertainment society. It's all of those things that are feeding into you, the TikTok videos of what's happening and what's new and what's hot, and you know, and who's not and who is and who's the judge of whatever. It's just a way to take your power back even more. It's all it is a way to take your power back even more. Because the more you give to those, that is what the Bible calls the devil. Because it is a lower vibrational thing that is controlling you from being your authentic self. So if something controls you from being your authentic self, then it has control over you, therefore you worship it. And when you worship it, and it's not God, it is an abomination to God then, because truly you are God, experiencing life through you, as you, whoever you are. So I always like to think of God as like this octopus body, you know, the big part of the octopus. God is like that. And then each tentacle goes out, and the tip of the tentacle is you having an experience. That's about the easiest way I can explain it. Just a sheet of chemicals. That's about the easiest way I can explain it. Is God is the big body, and the tentacle goes out, and then the tip of the tentacle, you're having that experience. So God, all these tentacles that are going out, is having an experience Everything that God sent out, some call it the Big Bang Theory. God exploded. In a way, yes. It's like, think of God as like the sun, but some call it the great central sun. So not our sun, but kinda, but another sun somewhere else that made everything, including all the suns. So each sun is like a god. It controls the karmic energy of what the solar system gets. Because depending on how the solar system acts, the solar system gets karmic energy from the sun. In other words, everything the solar system is in control of, so each, like our sun is in control of like the planets and this, this energy of the solar system. So it's in control of this solar system. So you can think of it as a living energy. And if you look at it, it's a pulsating, bright energy. And this pulsating, bright energy erupts energy, a sunspot. The sunspot is actually solar energy, solar flares, which you can look up this. A solar flare energy affects our weather. It's a proven fact. So when that energy erupts from the sun, it takes 3 days to get to Earth. As that energy goes over the top of Earth, Earth's atmosphere magnetically draws in any karma that is associated with Earth and what is on Earth, the inhabitants and everything. So anything that pertains to Earth is karmically, magnetically drawn to Earth. Then the rest of that solar energy goes over the top of Earth, and it feeds the rest of the solar system. It just keeps going out until everybody's and everything has their karma. So in a way, you can think of us being here made from our sun, but everything, including our sun and every other sun and everything in the whole everything, comes from one energy, which is the great solar sun. That's about the only way you can technically kind of put a mind on it. So there's one energy source that's pulsating and growing just like our sun, because our sun, if you have looked back, changes colors. It used to be kind of a yellow, and then a gold, and then a yellow, and then a pale, and now it's like it looks like it's like beyond white, iridescent, like iridescent white now. So the great solar sun is pulsating also and letting out bursts of energy. And as it bursts out, it's creating life out into everything that it creates. Just like our sun, when it pulses out, it sends energy to everything that it creates in its solar system. So it's a mini version of God. So our sun is a mini version of the great solar sun, God, the original God, and then it's like a mini version of God. Now the mini version of God explodes, and it becomes anything in the solar system. It can come to Earth and be created as plants and trees and insects and animals and people, and anything. Anything that has an energy life force that is God created. It can come back as a crystal, as a rock, as God is being experienced. If it has an energy aura type around, like an energy aura around it, it's a living energy force that is God created. And that is God experiencing God through that. So literally, if you are torturing a cat, you're actually torturing God. So you're giving God an experience of being a tortured cat. It makes people think a little differently when they start interacting not only with other people, other animals, other plant forms, other ecosystems, other rocks, damaging things. Because the more you damage, the more you're damaging God, having an experience of that. So in other words, you're interfering with that. So it makes us have a little bit more of a conscious step on how we move through the day. Because every action that we have has a reaction, correct? So instead of staying on that timeline of where I was going, I chose to stop, have another experience, which was way better, way easier, way more comfortable, and we're all warm. And I got my energy downloads, and then I was able to make this wonderful video on how to do this. Every action has a reaction. Remember that. And all actions are recorded. Not just for the end of your life, but for all time. Once it's done, it's done. Once you do something, you just being alive creates an energy. I want to say, you, like you're walking, you're leaving like this energy sludge trail, like a snail would leave. That's energy that you're leaving, because everything you're doing is being recorded nonstop. I know this because when I went into stigmatic trance and would be locked into a mudra, as soon as I would hold the mudra of the moment where I was getting ready to be killed. I mean, even up to like my mouth open and like, you know, I would be in a certain pose. And as soon as I was in that certain pose, my body would lock into that pose. And then I would see not only a 360 of what was going on, but I would also see as me. So I was me experiencing that all over again. And if I was holding a knife committing suicide, I would be feeling like I was holding something, and then when the knife would go in, I wouldn't feel it like a physical ow, but I would feel it energetically. So it was like pressure, like a ton of pressure right there, and it's like I could feel it going in, but there was nothing physically there to hurt me. It was truly a unique experience going through an energetic stigmata. So instead of worshiping a man, which would be Jesus, because Jesus was born of earth, which makes him not a god, because he would have to come from the heavens to come down to become a god. You're not born here a god. You ascend to be a god. So God, as we explained, is the sun, or the great central sun, because the God is the energy that controls all the karmic of everything. So as the sun erupts solar flares, it delivers karmic energy to the solar system, or God does it to everything that God creates. So everything's having an experience and going back to God. God's having all of those experiences in this big supercomputer, and then having evolving type of energies of ascension come back at us, so that way we receive that energy and then we also ascend. So our experiences make God smarter, and then God, being smarter, sends us the energy to become smarter, and it's just a big circle of this is how we have an experience. So God is projecting out in different ways, which is the trees and the grass and the birds and the insects and us and everything. That's God having an experience as that. And then all those experiences are going back to God, and then God's getting smarter, sending it out, and then we all get smarter. It's called evolution. Some people worship Jesus so much they become stigmatic through Jesus, which they'll get the physical wounds of Christ and the bloody eyes and the blood thorns, and because they're worshiping a physical man, they get the physical stigmata, which is the lower vibrational stigmata. When my Kundalini energy blew out on 11/11 of 18 at 11:11 p.m., I became obsessed, OCD obsessed, Asperger's is obsessed with energy. I was doing everything in my power to conjure up my energy over and over and over, trying to understand what was going on and why my body was moving like this, and why all of a sudden I was breaking fusions and breaking scar tissue when I let my body do things, and then why was I being locked into certain mudras and seeing past lives and deaths and all this stuff. Why? But it was so awesome. I wanted to keep doing it. I wanted to keep doing it because I was trying to understand it. And so I worshipped energy. What is energy? What is the source of all energy? It's God. So I didn't worship Jesus. I worshipped God. Therefore, I had an energetic or a spiritual stigmata. There is a huge difference. When you worship a man born of this earth, or worship anything so much, you can actually go stigmatic, obsessive. Well, how would you explain that? Not over a physical thing. It has to do with like a living energy, what you worship. So people worship Jesus so much, they become physically stigmatic over Jesus. Physically stigmatic. An energy stigmatic will go through the same things, but you don't receive the physical pain, because the people that are worshiping Jesus, they want to feel the pain, they feel like they're already in that pain, and they want to just immerse themselves in that pain, and therefore they receive the physical painful stigmata. When you worship energy, or you could call it worship God, you open yourself up to a never-ending, magical, bountiful, abundant, blissful, every moment is in wow life. I think I'm going to end it right there. Life is a mystery to us this lifetime. But if we just let go and let our higher self step in, which is God, our higher self has lived everything so many times. It's just, and then of course our higher self can see. It's almost like we're in this mouse maze, and we cannot see the way to the cheese. We're just trying to smell the way to the cheese. But our higher self knows how to get to the cheese. So instead of running around frantically trying to figure out which way to go, we slow down, connect with spirit, and get there with less stress, less energy, and more fun. And that's what this is all about. Ascension is supposed to be about fun, playfulness, everything to do with connection and love and openness, and getting rid of this tainted, dark, masculine, wounded energy that this planet has been ravaged by for way too long. It's time for the divine feminine and everything to step up and heal the divine masculine in themselves. Because once they do it to themselves and heal themselves, their whole realities change. If somebody else is trying to come in and heal you, you're getting a version of reality, of their reality. A true healer will give you the confidence to know that it's truly you that is healing yourself. They provide the conduit to bring the energy through for you to use. And depending on how clean that conduit channel is what kind of energy you're receiving. That's why you need to be careful of who you have heal you. Because if you have an unhealed healer, then you're getting very toxic energy. And if you're already having issues and wanting to be healed, it's not a good combination. But truly, a true good healer will hold space and open their conduit channel for spirit to come through. And that triggers you and stimulates your brain to know that they're doing this healing, this amazing job, right? But what you're doing is you're allowing and opening up for miracles to happen. Because the more you believe in yourself, and even the person that's with you, the faster you heal your body and heal your mind and heal your energy. Because truly it's you. Because you can shut down your energy and not allow any healing. Or you can open it up and allow all the healing. It's up to you. If you don't believe it's going to happen, then guess what? You're going to block all that wonderful goodness trying to come in to show you to heal. But if you just step out of your way and know that you'll receive exactly what you need. And it'll always be on the highest vibration. Love and light, my friends.